Sports is sponsored by Strong.
Honestly, it didn't start that well. Aggies got to Hawaii, and at times Hawaii got to themselves. Oh, but things changed with 56 seconds left in the first half.
Trips receivers right side. You mentioned Mulleney to the left. And Max with it. He puts it on. Devin Stubblefield, the former St. Louis Crusader. His first college touchdown.
I hope you're all having a pleasant evening. I'm Robert Kikaula, and this is Inside Access here on OC Sports. Officially, a 20-point victory for the UH football team, and what may have gone unnoticed to many, that's 3 straight home wins for the Rainbow Warriors. Team's now 2-0 all-time versus UC Davis, and they've won 10 in a row against FCS teams. Quite frankly, like they should.
I mean, it feels amazing to be above 500 again. We had a tough game last week, the offense did, so it feels good to come back and have a productive offensive day.
First half, Aggies were 6 of 9 on third down. They were 6 of 19 in their loss versus South Dakota last week, but at the half, Hawaii led 13-10 with 160 yards total offense. After the break, home team produced 225 yards in the third quarter alone, and in one stretch, scored touchdowns on 4 consecutive possessions.
Got Melvin Davis in backfield. Why not? It's Melvin Davis behind Deshaun Allen. Touchdown.
Winning on the field is a touchdown.
They gave to Melvin Davis, and it's a big load right side to get near the goal line. And now they call it a touchdown for Melvin Davis.
I thought the tempo weared their defense down in the second half, but I thought Max really was comfortable in the offense. That's the best I've seen him play so far. And we've seen some of these things in practice, and now it's carried over to Saturdays.
We had 2 98-yard drives in a row. Anytime you can do that, you're moving the ball well. I think, we were able to hit some big chunks in passing game and in the running game, and I think, we kind of got in a groove and we felt good about everything that we were doing and what we were seeing, so I think it was a good win tonight.
And part of that offensive outburst, the longest touchdown run in program history.
He's got right open field, across the 20, Harris to the 40, across midfield, for Harris, for Hawaii, he's through. 95-yard touchdown for Hawaii's starting running back.
The coach before the play said that the line is probably going to slant in, so I kept in the back of my mind, like, okay, I can bounce it out. So when I got the ball, the play is actually an inside run, so I saw that everybody slanted in, so that's when I bounced it out, and I saw Stubblefield with the block that he made, and it just sprung me free, and I couldn't let the safety catch me, so I had to showcase my speed.
Is there a point when you have full stride like that you know you're gone?
Yeah, as soon as I seen Stubblefield's block and I ran past him, like, yeah, I'm not getting caught. I can't get caught.
We've seen that from him in practice. Now it's good to see him do it in a game, and I'm happy for him. I mean, he ran the ball hard. I really like the way he's been running between the tackles, but what you can see once he gets out in space, he could be dangerous.
Defense bent a bit but didn't break, and guys made plays on special teams, like DeJuan Butler, recording Hawaii's second block punt of the season. In Hawaii's 38-0 loss at Ohio State in Week 2, defense, they gained some RESPECT. See, what do you want? Baby, they got it. This week, the offense found an RHYTHM, like some first-time OMG moments by freshman Devin Stubblefield. Linebacker Gerald Garcia-Williams. Oh, he was a beast. And defensively, Kennedy Tuli Masiali'i and Makani Kemakale Vahea. Say that 3 times fast. They put it on the Aggies. Let's talk about it. This is Inside Access here in OC Sports. Final score between Hawaii and UC Davis was 47-27. Rainbow Warriors, their record now 2-1. The Aggies, they dropped to 0-3. And a recognition this week for Hawaii's linebacker Gerald Garcia-Williams for his efforts against the Aggies. 15 tackles, a career best. He was named Mountain West Conference Player of the Week. And of those 15 tackles, 12 of them were solo stops for the 6'2", 235-pound linebacker from Las Vegas, Nevada. Welcome to Inside Access here on OC Sports. I'm Robert Kikaula, and joining me, Nate Ilawa, former UH running back, Stephen Sott from the Star Advertiser, my game broadcast partner, Rich Miano, played football at UH, played NFL, coach here at UH, coach at Kaiser. The resume is far too long. Okay, you guys' reactions. Hawaii, UC Davis. A game they should have won, supposed to won, did win.
Well, man, they started off slow, obviously, but I thought they did a great job of adjusting, and coming out and handling things and, kind of shoring up some of the mishaps that they had earlier in the game. And I think it was a full team effort. I mean, you mentioned a lot of the stars that kind of stepped up, and, put their cards on the table, for the victory. So I think it was a great job overall in the end.
I think offensively, Hawaii fans got a good look in that second half, what the offense could be.
Right, and I think what I liked is that they had to be patient to do it because the other team was holding the ball, not giving them a lot of chances, and the tendency then is to come strike right back at them, and they were very patient before they opened up the offense.
Offense put up over 400 yards, defense gave up over 400 yards. Is that a concern right now?
Totally. I think they started lethargically, and in terms of when you talk about time of possession, it's because the defense has to get off the field. They have to go 3 and out. They have to create turnovers. Right now, the turnover ratio, which is the most concerning, is the offense giving the ball away and the defense not taking it away. We're 106th in the nation, and that cannot be a signature of this team. Defense has to take it away, and they have to get off the field in 3 downs, make them punt, give the ball to Max, Don Bailey in this offense, and see how explosive we can be.
Well, there was one player early on that we all noticed who was not lethargic. Let us show you to him. Kennedy Tuli Masiali from Waianae, UH defensive lineman, only credited with 5 tackles. But this dude can disrupt an offense.
You're like a track star playing defensive line. How is it you get off so fast?
I don't know. I just hit. I don't know, really. Actually, I really don't know. I mean, I did play track when I was in high school, 4x1, 4x4, but I don't think it's that. I just, in the moment of the game, you feel right. You just got to get off.
Could you feel you disturbing them, their offense, in that first quarter?
Definitely. The line, most definitely. And then after that, because I could tell they were getting nervous because they're looking side to side, like you get this, get out. But not only me, but our whole D-line just off the bat, coach said, you got to mess them up.
Do you know it on the field in the heat of the battle? I'm in their head. I got them.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's funny when you know, but and then you start picking on them. But like, not being anything, but it kind of happened against Ohio State where I kind of I knew I was kind of in their head mentally. I got them mentally, but then this game it was just like, whoa. I mean, it was like that, So
it's 3 games in. How much better can this defense really get?
Way better. We got mistakes here and there. There's always a mistake no matter what happened. Even if it's a good play, there's a mistake in that good play. And I feel like our defense can get way better than what it is now.
Now, after the game, UC Davis head coach Ron Gold had a pretty good comment about Kennedy.
Well, he's an NFL guy. He's a really, really good player. We have a lot of respect for him watching him play against Ohio State. We have a tremendous amount of respect for this young man. He has a very bright future for him at the next level. I just want to encourage him to keep going, stay humble, and working hard.
That's a nice quote from the other team's coach. Talk about Hawaii's standout defensive lineman. He's that good, isn't he?
Yeah, if you mentioned it on the broadcast. Travis LeBoy, Isaac Sepawanga. This guy is the most impactful player and probably the best recruit in the last 10 years at least at the University of Hawaii. But it's amazing because he has the quickest first step. He has tremendous hips and hands and explosiveness, and he can play like a linebacker laterally, but he wears his pants like a defensive back.
His pants are the talk of the town, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. I mean, me and Leonard couldn't stop, watching the game and the whole thing, how he gets away with it. But we would always try to do that while we were in college, but refs were always, hey, and they get some knee pads in there, but I'm loving it.
I think the referees are afraid to tell him to change his pants, and everybody's afraid of Kennedy. The opposing offense, the referees, and anybody that's watching him, the future opponents.
Maybe it's just me. I don't want to talk to another grown man about his pants. We showed you Kennedy's numbers, just 5 tackles to his credit. And we mentioned at the top of the show that this young man, Gerald Garcia Williams, named Mountain West Defensive Player of the Week. 15 tackles, 12 of them solo with 3 assists. And then the other talk is on offense. Running back Paul Harris, 5'11", 190-pound junior from Columbus, Ohio. 11 carries, 147 yards, including a record-setting 95-yard touchdown run.
I didn't expect the game that I had tonight. I gave it all to the linemen and the right receivers for doing their job as blocking. I started off kind of rough, so I didn't really expect to have a great night, but it's definitely a confidence booster after breaking that long run. You know, the team kind of believes in me now, and just feels great.
Feels great. Looked great, the effort. 31 carries, 193 yards away his offense. It's an average of 6.2 yards per carry. That's a good number.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, you look at it, he had 11 carries, 147. So prior to the long 95, you know, it was probably 10 carries, around 50 yards that he had. But, you know, credit to him, he kept running hard. You know, and I think that's the big thing about the run game. Any running back, you just got to continue to run hard, you know, regardless if the blocks are there or not, because then opportunities like that come and you're able to take advantage of it.
You did the Paul Harris story leading up to the season. Tell us about this young man.
Well, it's just a guy who didn't have a lot of opportunities. He came out to California. I guess he was originally with Toledo, didn't get into school, came out with something like $400, lived in a really bad motel until he got ready to join the Ventura College. And he's worked his way up, but he's always pretty motivated just to play and get on the field.
Gotta love his effort. Also on offense, a couple of other standouts. Receivers, Marcus Kemp and Devin Stubblefield. First, Kemp. 5 catches, 119 yards, including a touchdown. He did drop a couple that may have been touchdowns as well. Then Devin Stubblefield, the graduate of St. Louis School. Redshirt freshman, back from a knee injury, 6 feet, 190 pounds. Not only his first catch of his career, he had 6 of them, in fact, but 108 yards and his first college touchdown. To finally contribute, it's got to feel good inside.
Definitely does. I mean, just making plays on first down and second down and then moving the ball, you know, come back scoring, you know.
I'm proud of the man. I mean, ever since last year with his injury and the first 2 games he didn't play as much as he wanted to, and he didn't have a good game as the same as all of us at Ohio State. So it feels, I'm proud of him. It feels amazing to see him have a great game like that.
I was happy for him. He's really gotten better the last couple weeks. He's really worked on his mental part of the game. That's really been the biggest thing with him, and he came up big tonight. In fact, I think he scored that second time, that second post, that slant that he caught also. But no, he had made some great catches, and it's good to see him. And we got to have guys step up. I mean, in a 13-game season, we need more than just 11 guys.
Coming into the week, Coach Bailey kept talking about executing, just focusing on us and not who's across the ball. And I feel like tonight, as a unit, as an offense, we definitely executed and got a couple accolades, breaking free. Felt good just to get back in the groove a little bit and move the ball as an offense. And I mean, it doesn't get any better than that, you know.
So second down, waiting, looking into the end zone, and wide open is Marcus Kemp.
Right, that play isn't even designed my way, you know, but they ran a coverage that I'm open for a hole shot. So Max recognized it before the play, so he made a great play. He made a great decision to throw it my way, and I look and the ball's in the air, so I got to go make a play. So they just played the wrong coverage to the right play.
Now, during the game broadcast, Richard and I, we talked about Marcus Kemp having the flair for the dramatic. Made big catches. San Diego State a year ago, UNLV last season as well. Doug Stubblefield, his progress in getting game ready.
Right, and you know what's interesting about him? It's Stubblefield and Garcia Williams both had the same knee injuries. They were both rehabbing at the same time, and both of you guys had that same injury, and you know that's a tough thing to come back from, and it took you guys a while to get it going. And well, him, it's because, you know, I don't know, Dr. Kildare was your doctor, but I mean, they just came back, and it's got to give him credit because they came back within a year and played at a really high level. And I mean, it shows because one guy's player of the week.
Nate, Rich, let me ask you guys first before we get going. Offense, are you seeing them find a rhythm on offense?
It wasn't bad in the first half because the defense didn't give them enough opportunities. But when the second half evolved, because we were all sitting looking at each other at halftime going like, wow, this is a much better game than we had anticipated. But yeah, in the second half, there's no question that they found a rhythm. They found a new receiver in Devin Stubblefield. They found that Paul Harris does have this breakaway threat. There was more tempo. And part of that run was tempo because UC Davis did not get lined up properly for that run, and then you saw Harris just outrun the free safety on a bad angle because we are more athletic, we are faster, we are bigger, stronger, and even longer, and we deserve to win. But they needed the confidence, Robert, because going up to Camp Randall, they're not going to have to be perfect, but they're going to have to be very good to score points off of Dave Aranda's Wisconsin defense.
Are you seeing this offense coming into or developing into something that you're becoming a fan of that style now?
Oh, yeah, of course. I mean, going in, to the game with Quinn Pedroza being kind of banged up, you were looking for someone to kind of step up and take that load. And I thought, Devin did a great job, coming off the knee injury that, Stephen was kind of touching on. You're going to have to build confidence, each game. Rich knows each game you're going to have to kind of get out there, do some certain things. I loved he was catching stuff in the middle. He was catching slants. He was catching back shoulder passes across the middle as well, which is great. For guys to step up like that, there will be others that will also do the same. And that'll help Max Whittick as well, as a quarterback.
And we all know Devin Stubblefield can fly. We haven't seen it yet. We haven't seen him open it up and really test that knee and stretch a field like that.
And the good thing is we're going to get to see it for 3 3/4 more years. He's only a redshirt freshman. Confidence is brewing, and you're right. He runs great routes. He's got the speed. He catches the ball, and a lot to look forward to. Devin Stubblefield.
Who's happy too? Mike Trapasso, because this guy plays baseball.
Yeah, he does play baseball. We got much more here on Inside Access on OC Sports. When we come back, we'll talk about the 98-yard kickoff return that wasn't.
Inside Access on OC Sports is sponsored by Strong.
Special teams. Over the past couple of seasons, under the Norm Chow umbrella, special teams has been exceptional. There's been plays made, and yet again, against UC Davis, there were plays made.
No question. Keelan Evalinko's return was unbelievable. The block punt by Dijon Butler was again the second huge. A lot of coaches will say a block punt, Nate, is the biggest play of a football game. It changes the momentum. So there's been a lot of explosive plays on special teams. So you're right, Robert. The last 3 years has been consistent, and now we're getting occasional greatness.
Were you ever a special teams guy? Punt return and kick return guy?
No. I don't think Drew really liked some of the starting guys. But I came in when Chad Owens had already had that 2,000 years, so we knew that job was kind of locked up.
But some coaching philosophies don't like starters to be handling the ball and be the return man on special teams. But hey, best 11. Jake Kukish, the job he's doing as special teams coordinator.
Right, he's doing a really good job, and he has a different personality, so you have to sort of embrace. He has some different techniques also they're using, like on punts. They're now going with the wedge instead of single back, and you don't have a Scott Harding, but he's doing a really good job. But he's had to fit in some pieces because there were some. His Quentin Pedroza was his best punt returner. He's not healthy. They've had to move around some guys as kick returners, and they've lost their long snapper. So I mean that showed in the game that different guys are out there.
Robert, the contrary to the greatness, the punt drop by Rigoberto Sanchez. You also had the block kick, which was an extra point. And there's some kickoff coverage things that are concerns as well. So they're going to have to play consistently good more than occasionally great if they want to win games on special teams.
And the guy you mentioned, Maui-born, Keelan Evaliko.
The kickoff is 3 yards deep to Keelan Evaliko. And Evaliko's got some wheels. Evaliko's got a block across the 30 to the 40-yard line. And Evaliko puts a move on the kicker. Keelan Evaliko will come up just short. Wow.
A burst of speed by Evaliko. Of course, it was called back, stepped out of bounds. Take a flashback now to last season. We saw the speed of the kid from Maui against San Diego State. This on the road, 100-yarder. That's a big-time speed. He's got Division I caliber speed, doesn't he?
He does, and it's one of those things. It's the type of speed that affects games, and from the view we had at the game, you can see from the sideline the effect that it has and his ability to be used. I mean, he had a block punt in the first game, this season. it's something that you just got to kind of play with. You know, you'd like to see it a lot more, and you know, to kind of get him maybe in some fly sweep situations and things like that. But for him to have kick returns like that, I think it really helps, you know, special teams in that.
He keeps making plays like that, kickoff return. He will get his opportunities. And afterward, we had a chance to talk with the coordinator on special teams, Jake Kukis.
Keelan's becoming a weapon on not only kick return, but in all phases of special teams. So that gave us a little spark, you know, get us going. So it was an exciting play, and expect more big plays out of him. Hopefully, we gotta just make sure he keeps a hold of the ball, right?
Now, you have 2 home games so far this year. In both those home games, you get a block on special teams. Doesn't get much better than that.
Yeah, you know, it's nice when you practice it and it comes, you know, you get an opportunity in the game. And, you know, we always say don't miss the layup. So we had an opportunity to block one today, and we got after it.
No, it wasn't all peaches and cream, or depends on what color your glasses are, if they are rose-colored sometimes. But Keelan Evelico did fumble one on a kickoff return opportunity. Hawaii had an extra point blocked after getting into the end zone. And Rich, you talked about it earlier. Rigoberto Sanchez, early in this football game, in that first quarter, muffed a punt, and the snap hit him in the hands. Those mistakes, as this football team moves forward and wants to get better, have to be eliminated.
There's no question, because special teams is only, people talk about it being 1/3 of the game. It's not. But every opportunity is an explosive play. So they're going to have to eliminate these mistakes and continue to try to block punts, return kicks for near touchdowns, because they do have enough athletes to cover kicks and punts. Rigoberto Sanchez has shown the ability in the first game to be a very consistent punter, and obviously the return game, and you look back to Mike Edwards a couple of years ago, 2 or 3 touchdowns, Chad Owens. We've had a history of great return people in this program. So they just need to be more consistent and not give up the big play and continue to make big plays.
Now, when Inside Access returns here on OC Sports, we're going to sit down one-on-one with Hawaii head coach Norm Chow and talk about the wheels on Max Wittig.
Jump into the Aston side of life. Stay 2 nights or more at Special Kama'aina room rates and get a K-Class pass, good for a free room upgrade, free late checkout, and free parking. Call Aston today.
He can't use a compass because it always points at him. He received a gold medal for watching the Olympics. He once shook his own hand just to see what all the fuss was about. He is the most comfortable man in the world.
I don't always need air conditioning, but when I do, I prefer Fujitsu. Stay cool, my friends.
Welcome back to Inside Access here on OC Sports. Final score, Hawaii defeating UC Davis 47-27. Final numbers, Neri Lawa, what jumps off?
Time of possession, you know, with UC Davis, I thought they would have to slow the game down, you know, of course, do their thing. But, you know, all that time with keeping the defense on the field and everything like that, I think that makes it tough, and especially if you're not getting to the quarterback as well as I thought you would. But them not cashing out either, you know, is also a good thing. So,
Steven Shai, numbers that jump off that screen?
Yeah, I thought so. I thought it was kind of interesting how more third down plays they had. So Hawaii was maximizing by minimizing its drives.
All that matters at the end of the exercise?
I do words for a living, by the way. Yeah.
All that matters at the end of the exercise is get the W.
That's our goal, is to keep winning here, keep winning football games, but especially in front of our home crowd. You know, we want people to come watch us. You know, we're extremely prideful that we play for Hawaii, and you know, we want them to come see us play.
That's quarterback Max Wittig, 6'4", 240 pounds, senior transfer from USC. 17 of 24, a career best, 272 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. But what we really got to talk about is when he needed to. Oh, Max Wittig can run.
Colorado game, we see all 240 pounds of you trying to avoid a safety. Tonight is like, that's a track star. You make a big-time run.
I mean, you got to do what you got to do. I mean, I just took off, you know. Like I said, you got to do what you got to do. The lane was there, and all I did was run through it. So,
Did you think Max Wittek had that in him?
I'm a speed and quickness guy.
Yeah.
Genetic potential. I think he's reached that. That's probably around the Tom Brady 5.2 yards in the 40-yard dash. But Robert, when everything else opens up and you game plan for a guy like this, you may be playing man coverage in the secondary. There's opportunities where he's going to have to extend plays and pick up first down. So it's good to see the toughness. It's good to see the speed. It's good to see the ability to know where the sticks are. Because remember in the first quarter, the reason why he took that punishment and didn't hook slide is he knew where the first down markers were, and he was trying to get to them.
I like the respect, too, where they try to tackle him low. They don't go high on him because
he's 240 pounds. You talked about before the game about showing some touch. We all know he's got a big arm. Maybe a little bit too big at times. Those crossing routes, when he hit like Stubblefield, he showed some touch.
Right, and he's throwing at the same velocity as he does in practice. That was a big problem he had at Ohio State, where coaches felt he was throwing harder than what they were used to in practices. And maybe you can understand with adrenaline and Ohio State's big defense, but he actually had a nice touch in this game.
Let's wrap up our look at the numbers by taking a look at the Aggies of UC Davis and their standouts. Quarterback Ben Scott, 233 yards passing, 2 touchdowns. Rushing, Manu Samuel Luunga, 25 carries, 89 yards, 4 catches, 25 yards. And Chris Martin showed to be a big play receiver, 4 catches, 123 yards, 1 touchdown. Joining us now on Inside Access, one-on-one with head coach Norm Chow. Okay, Coach. It's a home win, which is, at the end of the day, your football team needs to keep producing. A home win's a good thing.
It is. A win's a good win any time, any place. But I thought our guys started a little slow, but we came on at the end. I thought Davis had a nice game plan. You know, they wanted to run the football, and they were overloading us to a side, and they were, making some checks, doing a good job. But I thought we adjusted well the second half. So it was good. It was nice. It was nice to see us win.
A couple of defensive efforts jump off the chart. Kennedy, first quarter, completely caused havoc, didn't he?
He did. He did, and Gerald Garcia-Williams, that was it was his best game since he's been here.
Player of the week?
Player of the week, defensive player of the week, and like you said, Kennedy played awfully well. We're doing a nice job of rotating. Lance Somerset was doing a nice job of rotating those kids because it's hard to play defensive line. It's 100 miles an hour all the time.
Hard to play defense in college football.
Hard to play defense because you have to switch around so much, and you only have 3 or 4 days to get ready.
You get some contributions from newcomers. Devin Stubblefield, the question was, how healthy is he? Will that knee hold up? We get a good look at the answer?
Yeah, no question about that. It was fun to see that because, we couldn't play Pedroza, Quentin. He'll be back ready to go this week. But it was nice, and that's what college football is all about. Everybody has to contribute. Everybody has to help. These young people have to understand that.
At the end of the day, as head coach, you ask your kids to just keep doing your job, get better every week. Are you getting better every week?
We'll find out, right, in a couple, 3 days. But I think we are. We're still making too many mistakes. We special teams, while we did produce big plays, we made some bad errors, mental errors. Once we get all those things corrected, we had a couple of false starts on offense, a couple of missed gaps on defense. Once we get all that and we can put together this solid game, we're going to be fun to watch. And we have to get there because the schedule, obviously, is very challenging.
Coach, good luck against the Badgers.
Well, thank you. Thank you. We're looking forward to it.
Welcome back to Inside Access here on OC Sports. Time for our weekly journey into the dark side, the world of fantasy football. And joining us, the guru of fantasy football, and joining us from parts unknown, from OC Sports, Derek Honma. Derek, ask you a question first. What's a meme? Or a meme, or whatever.
It's a meme, but I think that's what we're going to actually talk about today. We're going to have some funny ones. I mean, Twitter blows up on the weekends, but Sunday especially, the internet memes are hilarious. And that's what we're going to start with for our studs. We'll go to Antonio Brown, and yeah, it's a pretty good depiction of Antonio Brown, whose haircuts are very unique, and yeah, it's very similar to the Lego, or maybe President Business from the Lego movie.
That's like a low-budget kid in play.
Yes. But hey, you know what? If he's going to play the way he's playing, he can cut his hair any way he wants to, because the boy went off this weekend. 195 yards receiving, 9 receptions, 1 touchdown, 1 2-point conversion, 27 fantasy points. And his counterpart, Ben Roethlisberger, would be our other stud. Basically 21 for 27, 369 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, 30 fantasy points. Our 2 studs for the week.
Now, each week, as much as you want to name a stud, there's going to be a couple of duds in the world of fantasy football. Who gets the honor this week?
And we go to our wonderful Sam Bradford. And here's a meme that we found. Basically, congratulations. You remember this in preschool and kindergarten. Bradford finished his first game. Everyone was very happy about that, not getting injured. But
that is so cold-blooded.
Week 2, very ugly for Bradford. And our second meme, if you take a look at DeMarco Murray. Yeah, the O-line for Dallas, they're kind of laughing it up there, and DeMarco's struggling. But yeah, those are our two duds, basically Sam Bradford and DeMarco Murray. Sam Bradford, 224 yards passing, 1 touchdown in garbage time, 2 interceptions, 7.
Which leads you to questions. What was Philadelphia thinking when they traded for Sam Bradford? And DeMarco Murray has a great hurdle, but you cannot pick a fight with a punter.
Dan Bailey.
Are you kidding me?
Not a good idea.
Surprises in the world of fantasy football.
Yeah, our surprises, we go to the youngsters, basically Dion Lewis and Matt Jones. Matt Jones, number 2 in Redskins, basically the rookie out of Florida. 123 yards rushing, 23 yards receiving, 2 touchdowns, 24 fantasy points. He's not the starter, but watch out. If Alfred Morris gets hurt, just watch the tendencies. You watch this guy will get the ball more often. Washington wants to run the ball, and that's what they're going to do.
And I'm assuming on the waiver wire this week, we're memeing.
We're not for the waiver wire, but we're watching the turnarounds. And I think week 1, we had some kind of questionable performances with Allen Robinson and Steve Smith. So look at your leagues. You have a lot of owners that maybe got overreacted, dropped these 2 guys, so they may be available. Pick these guys up. They had great week 2s. They'll be consistent wide receiver 1, maybe possibly 2s for you. Keep an eye out for those guys. And also watch for the injuries. I mean, you got Tony Romo. Oh, rough. He's going to be out 8 to 12, they're saying, possibly maybe 8 to 10 with that broken clavicle. So keep an eye on for replacements at quarterback position. And Robert, I know you have some Tony Romo stories, so why don't you share it with our people?
I traded Tom Brady in 2 of my 3 leagues for Tony Romo.
Oh, sorry.
Big
not good.
mistake. Before we let you go, I'm told you have knock-knock jokes.
We have one good one, and our last meme, basically, yeah, we're going to leave it up there. Knock, knock, who's there? Owen. Yeah, Owen, too. This one made the rounds on Sunday. We're looking for this weekend. Follow us at OC Sports TV or follow me at Derek Honma. Tweet us your memes or your funny stories. Any questions you have, we'll kind of comment on them maybe next week in our segment. So,
Aaron Rodgers, quarterback Green Bay Packers. Russell Wilson, quarterback Seattle Seahawks. And funny how all of a sudden, Pete Carroll now is not a great coach because they're 0-2. Go figure. It's the world of fantasy football. I want to thank Derek Honma from OC Sports for joining us. Now, on Inside Access, let's get back to UH football.
Thanks, Robert.
Let's get ready to go. Sponsored by Supercuts.
Okay, real quick. Who's your fantasy quarterback? How did he do?
Eli Manning.
Who's your fantasy quarterback? How did he do?
I don't play fantasy.
You're weird. You're a fantasy quarterback. How did he do?
Tom Brady.
Tom Brady. I got Tony Romo. He might be done for the season. Okay, ready to go. Wait, next opponent.
We're excited. We're excited to get back into the Big Ten Conference and do something that we couldn't do last week. So, I mean, we're really focused and prepared to go up on this victory that we just had. So, I think that the team is ready to go on a bigger stage and play the bigger teams and really produce.
And as a reward for winning, you get Wisconsin.
Hey, we're just ready. Hey, next opponent, right? We don't really focus on that. We want to focus. Well, I'm going to enjoy it tonight. I want to enjoy that. We're 2-1. We're right where we want to be. And then and let's see what happens.
Okay, it's another brand name opponent for Hawaii. On the road, Wisconsin Badgers. Their record 2-1. They lost their opener to Alabama. They blew up Miami, Ohio 58-0. Then defeated Troy 28-3. Head coach Paul Chryst, defensive coordinator, very familiar name around these parts, and Dave Aranda. And real quick flashback. Who can forget? 1996, Wisconsin, Aloha Stadium. Heisman Trophy winning Ron Dayne, 339 yards rushing, 346 all-purpose yards, both a record for a UH opponent. I remember that game. We did that game. I was ticked off when Barry Alvarez pulled in because I thought I was going to see a guy rush for 500. He was that good, Ron Dayne, that night. Is Wisconsin that good right now?
No, but they have a very good football team, and I think it starts on defense with Dave Aranda because last year he might have been the best defensive coordinator in all of college football, and this year, the last 2 games, there has not been an opponent's touchdown against Dave Aranda's defense. And then, Robert, you know Inoki Breckterfield. I mean, he's a stud from Hawaii. He's coaching the D-line. Durante Jones, who was a good coach here at the University of Hawaii, is coaching the secondary. So I expect this Wisconsin team to be much more balanced offensively. And if Hawaii is prolific offensively, that will be shocking because Dave Aranda is that good.
Stephen, what do you know of Wisconsin and a non-conference team playing in Madison?
I think they run a lot and they win a lot in Madison. They call it Mad City over there. They are very good at home, and they run a lot. I mean, that's their game. They don't try to fool around. I think they opened up against Troy with 8 run plays in a row, so that's their game.
As much as college football has become wide open and up-tempo, Wisconsin will play our grandfather's football, won't they?
Yeah, I mean, we used to call it caveman football. We used to play Fresno. We played Wisconsin when I was at UH, but I thought UC Davis, they had a fullback, had some tight ends. It was kind of a way for them to kind of warm up to what they're going to be seeing in Madison. Of course, you're going to have a lot bigger bodies. You know, you're going to have a lot of these fullbacks with no necks and collars that, you know, sit up to there and things like that. And so I think it'll be good for them to kind of get eased into playing this grandfather football.
So it's Hawaii, the Rainbow Warriors, on the road again this season, taking on the Wisconsin Badgers on Saturday. We'll all be here for Inside Access starting next Monday night. For Nate Yalawa, Stephen Tsai, Rich Miano, our entire crew, I'm Robert Kikaula. Thanks for taking the time for Inside Access here at OC Sports.
How you doing, everybody? Hey, we got an exciting show today. We have Nu'ufa'a, former University of Hawaii running back from the 80s. We have Greg Tipton on the show as well, former University of Hawaii quarterback from the 80s. Bobby, what was your favorite memory of the 1980s?
Graduating from college, the culmination of the best damn 14 years of my life.
What about you, Rob?
Being born.
Okay.
Bank of Hawaii is proud to sponsor this program. But seriously,
3 games into the season, the Rainbow Warrior football team is north of 500 after their victory over UC Davis on Saturday. Seriously. Down goes Davis indeed. Hawaii with the 47-27 win over the Aggies. After a bit of a lackluster performance offensively in the first half, Hawaii took a 13-10 lead into the intermission and then exploded for 34 points after the break. Quarterback Max Wittek threw for 272 yards and 2 TDs. Plus, Hawaii had 2 receivers go over the century mark in the same game for the first time since 2010. So I turn to you two gentlemen and I ask you, what stood out the most to you from this performance by the Rainbow Warriors?
Absolutely, the offensive performance in the second half was huge. They needed that. I mean, they're going to go to Camp Randall, which is another one of the shrine places in college football. You didn't want to go there without having something really to build on offensively.
I think a lot of people have been waiting to see the offense click and really haven't seen it since maybe spring ball, because in training camp you didn't see it all too much because of a lot of injuries and guys being held out of practice. Max Wittek looked phenomenal. He made all the throws that you want a quarterback to make, and then you look at 7 incompletions in the game. There were maybe 4 to 5 drops. So really Max Wittek was on point, and I think that gives him self-confidence heading up, and also the receiving core that, you know what, I have a quarterback that can get me the ball when I need it and how I need it.
And what about those receivers? Marcus Kemp, we've come to expect some of these star-studded performances from him, 119 yards on 5 catches and a touchdown. But Devin Stubblefield, the former St. Louis Crusader, he fills the role that was vacated by Quentin Pedroza, who didn't play that night because of injury, and he goes big, 108 yards on 6 catches. He gets into the end zone. What does that say? We talked about depth for this team. At that position in particular, it was on full display that night.
Well, we kind of thought we might see some of that from Devin Stubblefield last year, and of course he had that horrific knee injury, but he's come back, and I think his confidence has gotten better in the knee. I don't think he ever had any problems with confidence on his skill set, but that was a breakout moment for him, I thought, on Saturday. You can see his confidence growing. He's more comfortable seemingly on every series.
And it's so important, too, because Quentin Pedroza was held out because of a knee injury. Devin steps up and plays the way he did. So imagine what Quentin is feeling right now about, I need to get onto the field. I need to, when I'm put back out there, I need to show that I'm still the guy. Q is still the guy. Devin Stubblefield's going to be pushing him. And then you look along the lines of all the other guys, Vazquez Haynes and Ammon Barker and Keelan Evaliko, other guys guys that now have to fight for playing time because Devin proved that he deserves a bulk of the time as well.
All right, let's look at the other side of the ball because Kennedy Tulimasea-Li'i is taking things to another level. We anticipated this. I thought out of high school, he was one of the best high school football players I've ever seen coming from the Waianae program. And so we thought that he had a chance to be a program changer. And he is starting to now round into that kind of form. What would you say about Kennedy Tulimasea-Li'i's progress to this point?
It's the first time this season that I think we've seen in a sustained way that sort of cat-like quickness. If there's one thing he's great at, it's that first step burst. I mean, he sometimes is by a guy before he gets a hand on him. I just got to be alarming if you're you're an offensive guard and you're like, I'm really going to put the and it's gone. I mean, it's fabulous to watch him. I think it's more coming from him.
I'm actually surprised on how surprised people are that Kennedy is playing the way he is, because you got to remember, coming out of high school, he was a highly touted recruit. I mean, if this was today, he'd be the Michael Elatise and the guys that we're talking about, Tua Tagovailoa for next season. I remember being at the national championship game in 2012, the Notre Dame-Alabama game, and a Notre Dame assistant coach jumped on a private jet to go to the Under Armour game to watch Kennedy. That's who they wanted to see. And I remember on the way to the airport, talked to me for about half an hour, asking me everything I knew about Kennedy Tulimasea-Li'i. And that was Notre Dame playing in the national championship game. He found his way to the University of Hawaii, and he's proving that what everyone thought he was going to be, that is who he is, no matter how much smaller he may be than guys that play his position typically at the FBS level.
Now, another thing happened in that game against the Aggies. This happened. Paul Harris basically immortalized his legacy with a record-breaking 95-yard touchdown run. Broke the record held previously by Skippy Dyer of the 1955 Hawaii team, which happened to be getting honored that night at Aloha Stadium. So a tremendous accomplishment for Paul Harris. But you were on the call on radio, Bobby. What was that like?
Well, it was fun because Paul Harris has another gear. And when he turned the corner, that poor safety, I think it's Parenteau, I felt sorry for the guy. I mean, because he was that close and it was whoop. And then the guy that had an angle, he got left, and you could see him kind of shaking his head like, I ain't catching that guy. Paul Harris gives you a little other dimension.
You know, it's sort of an embodiment of the explosiveness of this offense. It has, frankly, big play ability.
No, absolutely. And Paul Harris is a guy that earlier in the season, we saw him be a little hesitant as far as hitting a hole, and a lot of people wondering, is he more of a dancer? Is he a north-south guy? What is he? I think we saw in this game that we need to get Paul Harris the ball in the open field, whether it's a toss, whether it's a screen pass or something. Give him some room to operate. He's got the wiggles. He's got the boosters as well.
Well, Hawaii has definitely established a tone on the defensive side of the ball. We talked about Kennedy Tulimasea-Li'i already and his progression. But how about the honor? Mountain West Defensive Player of the Week for linebacker Gerald Garcia-Williams. 15 tackles, 12 of the solo variety.
Huge, and much like we talked about Devin Stubblefield returning from injury last season, Gerald was injured with a torn ACL in the Oregon State game last year, missed most of the year. And I remember in training camp him talking about he feels like he's healthy, he feels like he's back to normal, but he just doesn't trust his knee yet. I think he's trusting it right now.
And so good on the move from outside linebacker, which he'd been, to the inside, and he gets sideline to sideline, starting to look a lot like his dad who played in the NFL.
All right, so this is one of those things that make you go, UC Davis was trailing 47-24 late in the fourth quarter. In fact, 53 seconds left, so it was a done deal pretty much at that point. But they decide on the 10-yard line on fourth down to kick a field goal instead of going for the touchdown. And then the ensuing kickoff, they kick deep. So it's not as though they were trying to get extra possessions here. Little Bird told me that there was a betting line on this game out there somewhere, and it was 21. The final score was 47-27. Apparently there's a little buzz about this decision by Ron Gould and his coaching staff. Bobby?
Well, covering is not supposed to be important for coaches. They're not supposed to cover. You're not supposed to worry about it anyway. And I have to say, you don't often see someone down that much taking a field goal at that point. I mean, the more traditional thing would be take a shot at the end zone.
Sure.
But I'm sure the Aggie bettors were happy. I'm sure people who had Hawaii, not so much.
I'm not going to accuse anybody of anything, but let's just say that in this game they had throwback helmets. For the first time, they made a big deal about it at UC Davis. This is the first time we have alternate uniforms. If they have another set of alternate uniforms coming up, I'm going to be like,
They're going to turn into Oregon here if this keeps going.
They can now afford it.
Yep, it's back to the Big Ten. Hawaii going up against nationally ranked Wisconsin, now 2-1 on the season after a win over Troy this past weekend. So another just difficult road trip to Camp Randall Stadium to take on the Badgers. What do you guys see as far as the outlook of this upcoming game?
It's going to be a tough game going up against Wisconsin at Camp Randall, one of the craziest stadiums from a fan atmosphere standpoint. And this is a very good Badger football team that they're going to face. I think it's much like the Ohio State game where Hawaii defensively, they're going to have to blitz a whole lot. They're going to have to be sure tacklers on the edge. A lot of people were concerned about that Hawaii didn't blitz as much against UC Davis. I don't think they needed to, and that's why you didn't see it too much. You didn't see too much action on the edge. In this game, you do, and I think you're going to have to see if they want to slow down the Badgers at any point.
Well, and I also think that this is a side story. Dave Aranda, former defensive coordinator for the University of Hawaii, is now the defensive coordinator at Wisconsin. It's going to be an interesting deal because he's very familiar. And what he'll tell people is, got news for you guys. These guys bring it.
And speaking of Aranda, he was not retained by Norm Chow when Coach Chow came in here and took over this program. I imagine he circled that date when he saw Wisconsin to be hosting Hawaii.
Maybe a little extra motivation for the Badgers. All right, welcome back. We're here with Nu'u Fa'aola, former University of Hawaii running back out of Farrington. He's representing the Govs very well here today. You played for Hawaii from 82 to 85, then got drafted in 1986, 9th round by the New York Jets, played in the NFL with the Jets and Dolphins. It's good to have you here, but what do you recall of your days as a University of Hawaii running back?
Football player, I guess. I don't know. Hopefully, I recall a lot of great memories. The state of Hawaii, the family, how oriented we are, how close we were. You know, it's just the community. Just all that is just, it was amazing. And compared to the game that I went to on Saturday, you know, I was happy that they won, but I was very saddened by looking at the empty stadium.
Yeah, and you weren't just any UH football player. I mean, you were one of the great running backs, and I remember, I mean, your signature was dragging guys for yards upon yards, and you were, full disclosure here, still to this day, my favorite all-time University of Hawaii football player.
I'm interested in one thing is that, you know, obviously when you played for the University of Hawaii, you wore the rainbow uniforms, and last week or 2 weeks ago when the Bows went up to go play Ohio State, they broke those out for the first time in a long time, the all-whites from head to toe. Seeing that, what kind of memories did that bring back, and how much pride do you take in that in 2015, they still wear that uniform?
You know, as soon as I saw that uniform came out, because I was watching the Ohio State game with the Bows, and my whole family, my parents were there, and I saw that, you know, it brings back tears. And it's not tears of sadness, it was just joy. You know, it just brings back, it's hard to paint what it feels like to the public, but you can almost relate to what I go through. It's awesome. It's just a great feeling, and of course you know because your dad, and of course you heard it. It's just like me wearing a uniform, touching a ball, running, and then all you hear is no.
Well, it's great to have you here, and you know, I know that you're going through a lot in your family life, and been living in Seattle for 25 years there in about, and so we wish you the best in taking care of some of your family business while you're here. But Nu'u, great talking with you.
Oh, man, Kanoa, God bless all, and God bless Hawaii. And it's great to be here, and thank you for the opportunity. It's awesome.
Just like when he ran the ball and was dragging guys across the first down marker, he carried us on his shoulders for this segment. Thanks.